Thank you so much for joining us today for the message. As always, I want to encourage you to make sure that you are planted in a local church wherever you live so that you are able to serve and worship together with others. But we do pray that our church is a great resource to you and many others. And if our church has been a blessing to you, I would encourage you to join us in financially giving so that we can continue to provide resources just like today's message, as well as many other things abroad. Thank you again. God bless.
I have loved so far getting a chance to do this series. It has been edifying to myself personally. And today's topic is so true. I believe that it'll be very quickly evident where you're like, yes, no, that is true. When it comes to our friends, or lack thereof in some cases, it matters tremendously the people who are close to us in our lives. And the book of Proverbs has a lot to say about friendship. And pretty much the sum total is, it's going to be very hard for you or for me in this life if we do not know how to find good and godly friends. It's going to be a tough one because in one sense of the word, friendship is actually unnecessary. Biologically, it's unnecessary. Like you have your family, like you have to have sexual intimacy, you have children, you have to have siblings. If you have other people who are related to you, they don't get a choice in that one. But friendship, on the other hand, like that is a choice for you to put yourself out there to someone else, to be transparent with them to some level, if there's actually going to be a friendship at all. And we're going to define that today. You know, what is a biblical friendship? What does that look like? Because without good friends, finding good friends, and here's the deal, keeping good friends. Can we get an amen on that one this morning? It's like, it's not just finding them, and by finding them, I don't mean that you're searching out way out there and saying, are you a friend? You know, that's not how it works. You know that as well as I do. But then keeping them. I'll use a word that we don't often use when it comes to our friends, treasuring them, thanking the Lord for them, like recognizing that God has brought them into your life, and therefore to not miss the opportunity to be fully poured into and to pour into others. And so we're going to talk today about how do our friends influence our future, and what is a true friend, and how should we treat them? I think some of you would be like, well, that's just common sense. Well, common sense is not always commonly practiced, right? Can we agree on that one? There's a lot of times when it's like, well, yeah, we know what to do, but maybe we're not doing it. Maybe we're wanting friends in our lives, and yet we're not really that good of a friend anyway. And it's very hard to be friends with someone who doesn't want to actually be a friend. You just want to take or receive rather than give in the process of it. And lastly, what do the best friendships, the ones that are really good, the ones that are vibrant, and there's that aha together, there's something that's just really grand about that. What do they point to? What is the longing that's there? So Proverbs 13:20, and I'm going to read a couple of different Proverbs, just kind of walking down. This is by no means all of them on friendship, but this is a few of them. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. I would just take these down if I were you. Proverbs 18:24, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 27, verse 5 and 6 and 17. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, profuse are the kisses of an enemy. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. And that is the word of the Lord this morning. In your worship guide, if you're wondering, not all, but most of those verses are scattered throughout in case you didn't have a chance to write them down. Point number one this morning, and I encourage you to take them with me as we write down and jot down some notes. Your friends influence your future. Your friends influence your future. Maybe you've heard it said before, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And you're like, well, that's not always the case. Maybe not always the case, but it is heavily the case when it comes to the people that you spend the most time with. We become more like them. We become conformed to their language, to the way they speak, to the things they do, to the things that they find acceptable, to the things that they find normative, right? I mean, it changes who we are by the people that we are with. So the wisdom literature has a lot to say about who you spend time with. Your friends are either going to help you rise or they're going to be part of your fall. Like there's really no neutral side to it. Those people who are closest in your life that you are welcoming into your world are either going to be for your rise or for your fall. And remember this, we have to define success, we'll use the word rise, according to God's word. There's a lot of things in this world that are successful in the eyes of people who don't know Jesus and are very much not successful eternally, not what we're truly seeking for. So the wise want to be with the wise. Look again, Proverbs 13, verse 20. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. The wise want to be with fellow wise people. The successful people want to be with fellow successful people. Like you want to be with like-minded people. Specifically as a Christian, you want other people who are walking the walk and talking the talk and living the life and pursuing Christ. Like, how many of us would love to have those people in our lives on a regular basis? And my prayer as a church, we try to work really hard at this, but we can only give you the first steps. It's on you to forge the friendship. But that's why we put so much emphasis on life groups and so much emphasis on core classes and so much emphasis on being a part of the body of Christ, not just on a Sunday. It's not just attending. We're inviting you to be a part of the family. And family's there for what? For times of adversity. Family's there in the thick and in the thin. The wise seek to be with the wise. The wise want to be with those who are equally challenging them and enriching them in their friendship. And that doesn't mean we don't pour into other people. Don't get me wrong there. That doesn't mean we just leave other people behind. Not at all. But the simple fact is, there should be people you're pouring into, there should be people that you're running with, and there should be people who are further along in the journey than you. A lot of times that goes with age, sometimes it doesn't necessarily, but spiritually and in other ways as well. Like, who do you have in your life that you can go to, that you can have them pour into you, or that you're pouring into them? Too many times we are so busy, and I am equally, if not worse, about this than probably anyone here, but we're so busy that all we think about is what's next rather than being actually in the moment. We're always thinking about what's the next project, what's the next thing, what's the next event, what's the next game, what's the next whatever. And we miss the opportunity to be friends and to find friends because of that very thing. See, many people believe the lie that they are self-made, right? I mean, we're Americans. We're all self-made, right? We all pulled ourselves up by the bootstrings, right? We're those people. You're not. You are very much, the first years, your formative years, you're very much what your parents and what your home was like. Whether that's for good or for ill, like we are very much like the home that we come from the parents we come from the environment we come from. Whoever poured into us, raised us, especially from birth to 5 and up, but birth to 5 for sure. And then after that, go into some form of education. It is our friends for the rest of our lives. It is going to be our friends who are informing us of what is good, what is not good, what's popular, what's not popular, what's successful, what's not successful, what's a certain means and style of living, and what's not a certain means and style of living that you want. It's all about the people that you're around. And so when we say that we're self-made and no one influences us, come now. Like, let's not be silly. We are definitely influenced by the people around us and by the things that we see and partake in. The wise, for instance, when it says they want to run with the wise want to know who their children are with. The wise want to know who their kids are hanging out with, the other kids. They want to know about them. What do you do? Where do they go? What kind of grades do they make? Are they active in anything beyond video games or something of that nature? Like, what all are they into? Like, what is their life? And then they ask the other question, what about their parents? The wise are asking, like, why do we ask those questions? And why are we so careful when it comes as parents to that with the relationships of our kids? Because we know that if we send our kids with other kids who are not doing the right thing for one reason or another, we know that they're going to be impacted by that. We know that they're going to be susceptible to that. And here we are as adults, in many cases, not taking the same advice, surrounding ourselves with people that we know are not helping us be more like Jesus, not live more like Jesus, not seek holiness in our lives and be sensitive to the things of God. The wise want to know all about what their children are doing, what the parents of the children that they're hanging out with. How many of y'all as a parent, and maybe you don't remember if you're a grandparent, but maybe it wasn't an issue back then, but I'm telling you today, like, I want to know what the parents do. I want to know what church you attend, and I want to know if you actually attend there regularly. You know, I want to know about what it is in your life, because again, I'm investing a ton of energy into my what? Into my children. I want to know what they're going to be exposed to, what's going to be encouraged explicitly and implicitly in the environment that they're in. The wise seek to be with the wise. I'll say it another way, and this sometimes is used in a negative way, but this is a positive thing. The wise in the best way possible discriminate. The wise in the best way possible discriminate in some form and fashion, simply to say, like, there are certain environments I don't want my kids to go to. There's certain things that we got to say no to so we can say yes to other things. There's certain things and certain positions that we're simply not going to put ourselves into in the first place. And that's an important thing when we recognize it's not just for our kids, it's for us too. I just watched someone that I know him from a distance, and by distance, I mean from a far distance. I haven't really had that many dealings with him outside of meeting him a few times and then basically seeing some of his things on social media. And this poor guy, basically his life has melted down in front of him, and it sounds like this is not the first, second, or third time getting on meth and basically not having a chance to be with his child, his daughter, not having a chance, saying a lot of things on social media where you're like, is he about to commit suicide? Like, you're wondering what's about to happen, and finally he's like, I'm finally done. I've got to quit. I can't keep letting this happen. He's going now somewhere into another state for 7 months of rehabilitation. And so on one side, you're like, man. But part of one of his texts was what? I was doing so good. Then I went to friend's, loose word, isn't it? Friend's house. And that's where it started. But that's not where it stopped. It's amazing when we think about these things. What do you value? It's important. What do you value, and are you surrounding yourself with people who value like things? What do you like to achieve, or what would you like to achieve in this life? What are your goals? Big goals. Not just to get the laundry done by the end of today. That's a pretty big one. But I'm saying bigger ones. Like, what are some of your goals? And are you surrounding yourself with other people with like goals? Are you noticeably, and this one's a more important goal than either of the two things I just mentioned, are you noticeably becoming more like Jesus every year? You're able to look back and you're just like, yep. Honestly, I'm becoming more like Jesus in noticeable ways. Are you surrounding yourself with other people who want to become more noticeably like Jesus every year? And you're like, this is a fairy tale stuff. It's not a fairy tale. Like, I personally want to be around other people who want to be engaged in relationship with Jesus, who can hold me accountable explicitly and implicitly. Like, I want that in my life. My goal is that as I get older, I get closer to Jesus as my body begins to wear out more and more. Okay, like that should be all of our goals, that we're faithful to the end, that we fight the good fight, that we run the race that's set before us, that we do the things that are necessary. Notice the difference between necessary and easy. Easy is to go with the flow. Necessary is the right thing at the right time, and that's really what wisdom's all about, is it not? There's a lot of times when it's not just a clear moral yes or no, it's more like using the wisdom, the right thing at the right time, at the right place with the right person, and knowing the difference between the two. Choosing between two goods so that you can choose that which is the greatest or the best at that time, at that moment. See, real friendship looks a lot more like this. They love you in your highs and your lows. If you only have people that are with you when all things are going good, when all lights are green, those are not actually your friends. They might like the stuff that you have. They might like the things that you offer, but they're not really your friends. They may be your companions, but they're not your friends. They tell you the truth in love with grace. They hold you accountable even when they know you're going to get mad. They see the best in you, and here's the cool part about real friends. They demand it out of you. Maybe not so forcefully. My wife says I'm too forceful. Maybe you're like more coaxing and encouraging, and maybe you give big hugs. I'm working on hugs. Trent says I don't give enough hugs. So I'm thinking about maybe it's just a gentler way of saying it. But the point is that when you see something in someone you don't allow them to sink to the lowest level, but rather you encourage them in one way or another to be the very best man or woman of God that they can be, to be the very best mom or dad that they can be, to be the very best worker or co-worker that they can be, to be whatever it is. You're like, I see that in you. That's what a real friend does. They will not leave you where you are in life. They make you better. Inside of your worship guide, 1 Corinthians 15:33, Paul quoting outside, he says this, do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. Bad company ruins good morals. Therefore, who you surround yourself with matters. Number 2, and true friends, oh my gosh, this is important. True friends are few. When you find one, treasure them. True friends are few. When you find one, treasure them. Some people claim to have lots of friends. Some people are social butterflies, like they are just magnetic and people just want to be around them and it's the coolest thing ever. And like they throw usually the best parties and they have the best things and all that. And it's just like you just want to be with them. And some people will be like, I have hundreds of friends or I have lots of friends. I'd like to argue against that. Not that you don't have a lot of people who are friendly towards you or who like you or who have good thoughts about you. But according to the biblical definition of friendship, it's impossible for you to have the time. It's impossible for you to have the physical, mental, and spiritual energy. It's impossible for you to be true friends, real friends, deep friends, according to Scripture, like what's being described, and have more than just a few of them. Doesn't mean you're not a very friendly person and that people don't want to be around you. But if we answer the truth about this, most of the times we're friends with certain people because of the things that they bring into our lives. We're friends with people because of the things that they bring, and you're like, well, that just sounds selfish. Well, welcome to reality. I don't mean that in a negative way. You may enjoy their friendship because they love fishing and you love fishing, and so you hit it off. You can talk about baits all day long. You can go outside on the lake all day long. You can cast the rod all day long. You like the same things, but if you took that away, would you still be close friends? And the answer is probably not. There's a lot of people who have work relationships, for instance. Because you work together and you have certain things in common together, and you know you're going to see each other 5 days, 6 days a week, whatever it may be for a certain period of time, they're enjoyable. Are they more enjoyable than the least enjoyable people, and therefore you spend the most time with them, right? And so you'd say, but if you take out of that job and you move, or they move, will you still talk to each other 5 or 6 days a week? There's seasons in life of certain levels of friendship, if you will. For instance, in school, you typically have no choice, unless you're in a really big school where you rotate classes, but you typically have no choice in the sense, well, these are my friends. You have friends that are there, but as soon as you get out of high school, well, then all of a sudden some of them go to college, some of them go to work, some of them go and do this. You're in totally different places, and you'll find out really quickly, it's like, wow, space and time does separate so many different things. We're changing, but we're not changing together. We're not growing together. Think about it for some people in their lives, college, 20s, 30s, and hobbies. There's a similar interest and similar age. For instance, I have a lot of people that I'm friends with that are because of travel ball. But I don't see a lot of them outside of travel ball except for those who come to church, right? I mean, so it's not like every single one of them, but we've been on 4 different teams and Abram's only 11 over a period of time. So I have lots of friendly acquaintances, but I don't have anyone that's just like, they know things about me. They've been there in the darker moments. They've been through the struggle. That's not true. But we have common interests. And we have commonality that our children are on the same team. Friends because of work. Friends because you go to church together. Friends because you play sports together. I still remember a friend going from 8th grade to 9th grade. And we were really close. I thought we were really close. And it's not like they turned their back on me or anything like that. But it's amazing that 3 months can do to you depending on who you're hanging out with. And what options are then presented to you going from 8th grade to 9th grade, going into high school. And when I came from 8th grade, summer, to 9th grade, and it was the first day of school, I still remember on the bleachers, we're talking about, like, what's up, man? And his demeanor had changed a bit. The way he was talking had changed a little bit. The people that I immediately noticed that he started hanging around were definitely not the people that we had previously hanged around. And it was one of those deals where it took 2 years for him really, I guess you could say, to come around in a sense. But it was the weirdest thing to me that all of a sudden I'm good friends with, at least, again, in my mind, pretty good friends with. And then all of a sudden, we're not hanging out with the same people, we're not doing the same things, and we're really not interested in the same things either. People are constantly changing. So when you find a good friend, keep them. When you find someone that loves you, that's there for you in adversity, fight for them, pray for them. Express your love through actions, enjoy their friendship, let them know that you're thankful. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the recording artist Ben Rector. He has a song called Old Friends. He says this: I can still find Wiley's house riding on my bike with eyes closed. I could name every girl that he took out, and from my memory dial his house phone. Can you take me back when we were just kids who weren't scared of getting older? Because no one knows you like they know you, and no one probably ever will. You can grow up and make new ones, but the truth is there's nothing like old friends, because you can't make old friends. And I've got some new friends, or I got some good friends now, but I've never seen their parents' back porch. And I wouldn't change how things turned out, but there's no one in this time zone who knows what inline skates that I wore. And you're like, that's kind of goofy. But think about some of those people who have been through those seasons with you, those moments, who know you. You don't have a lot of those people, whether old or new friends. You don't. You don't have a lot of people who've seen you at your worst, and they didn't say, if you need anything, call me. No, they were there. And we can be genuine about, if you need anything, call me, but there's a massive difference between if you need anything, call me, and I'll be there. If you got a friend like that, if you found a friend like that, if you forged a relationship like that, don't take it for granted. Keep that friendship. Work at that friendship. By very definition, there will not be many friends, there will be few friends. Again, Proverbs 18:24, a man of many companions, lots of people in your life may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. So what does it mean to have many companions and coming to ruin? Well, they're just fair weather friends. They're there as long as you got the good things. They're there as long as the relationship's good, as long as you have common interests. They're there as long as the things are going well. There's not something that's deeper. There's not something more fundamental. They're simply come and go as is best fit for them. When a better opportunity arises, they're gone. If your next opportunity is the best that they can find, they're there. Love people, but that person may be a companion of yours and even friendly towards you, but biblically speaking, they're not a true friend. So when you find one, keep them. Proverbs 17:17, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. A true friend stays when everyone else leaves. A true friend is built for the heat that comes in the kitchen. A true friend is there when you need him. A true friend will tell you the truth even when it hurts and you don't like what they have to say. Look again with me, Proverbs 27, verse 5 and 6. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy. How is it faithful to be wounded by a friend? Because they're willing to tell you when you're wrong. And here's the amazing part. They're willing to tell you when you're wrong because they love you more than they love the temporary aspect of the pain that it's going to cause you, and in return is going to cause them. You know that a true friend does what? Romans 12. When you rejoice, a true friend is also rejoicing with you because they're in it with you. They're like, yes, you got the promotion? Yes. You got the job? Yes. You got the whatever? Yes. but they also are there when the moments aren't so pretty. And their joy is also impacted by your sorrow in the sense that they mourn when you mourn. That they're upset. They're upset not because maybe the circumstance has impacted them directly, whatever's happening in your life, but because it's happened to you, because it's happened to their friend. How can they be full of joy, if you will, or happiness temporarily at the moment when someone they love so much is falling apart or hurting so bad? That's a true friend. But profuse, tons of them, are the kisses of an enemy. What's that? That's a yes man, yes woman. That's a person who says, hey, you want to do it? Feels good? Sounds good? Let's go. Hey, as long as you got the money, sure. Got the time? Awesome. They do not care about you. At least not to the fullest extent. If you're not willing to tell someone the truth, you're not a true friend. There's a lot of times when you're like, I just don't want to hurt them. Go back to Proverbs 27, verse 5. I just don't want to hurt them. I'm not saying you intentionally want to hurt them. But long before you can heal the cancer, you got to go under the knife in many cases, or you got to have the radiation, you got to have the treatment, and you know what? The treatment doesn't feel good. But the point is that the end result is that the cancer's removed. Same thing with friends. You love them so much that you call out the sin in their lives in a loving manner, in a graceful manner, in a one-on-one manner, right? I mean, I'm not saying you go and shout it from the rooftop, post it on social media. Yeah, my friend's got a problem with gambling, and here's their name and number. Give them a shout. Like, I'm not saying that, of course. It's insane. What I'm saying is going to someone, loving someone, being there for someone, but also saying it's not okay. It's going to impact our friendship if you keep doing this. I'm not going to just continue to sit by while you destroy your life, and not just yours, everyone else potentially with you. See, true friendship is both mutually beneficial and enjoyable all at the same time. C.S. Lewis calls it the secret thread, that aha, we see the same things and we enjoy the same things. I took down a few of his quotes, but one of which is this: friendship arises of mere companionship when two or more of the companions discover that they have in common some insight or interest or even taste which the others do not share, and which, till that moment, each believed to be his own unique treasure or burden. The typical expressions of opening friendship would be something like, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." Have you found people like that in your life? Again, that's not a lot of people. You too? You think that ridiculous show is hilarious? Everyone thinks I'm an idiot. You think that's good? You like to do that too? Man, I've only met a few people, and I've come across a lot of people, but I've only met a few people where I've been able to just have this kinship that goes beyond us knowing each other beforehand, but just simply to be like, man, you too. Do you have that? Well, when I say by finding a friend, I mean that the time and occasion will allow to see if you are and if they are truly friends with one another. Well, I mentioned it earlier, but if you go out saying, I'm looking for friends, well, you're not going to find friends like that at all. Why? Because you're not looking for friends. You're looking for people to give you what you want. Whatever it is you feel like you're lacking, I want that, so I want friends. Zig Ziglar, he said it this way: if you go out looking for friends, you will find that they are very scarce. If you go out to be a friend, you will find them everywhere, which is another way of saying if you go out to be what? Kind, generous, sacrificial, loving, graceful. You will find that, wow, people want to be around you rather than looking what you can get. When you find a true friend, treasure them as a gift from God. C.S. Lewis once again says it this way: in friendship, we think we have chosen our peers. Now, this is cool because of the text we just read in John 15 a moment ago. In friendship, we think we have chosen our peers. In reality, a few years difference in the dates of our births, a few more miles between certain houses, the choice of one university instead of another, the accident of a topic being raised or not raised at a first meeting, any of these chances might have kept us apart. But for a Christian, there are, strictly speaking, no chances. A master of ceremonies has been at work. Christ, who said to his disciples, "You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you," can truly say to every group of Christian friends, "Ye have not chosen one another, but I have chosen you for one another." This friendship is not a reward for our discriminating and good taste in finding one another out. It is the instrument by which God reveals to each of us the beauties of others. That is so well said. Do you ever look around at the people that you're doing life with and just say, "Lord, I just thank you. Thank you so much for my family. Thank you so much for my friends. Thank you so much for the people I work with." And some of you are going to be like, "Well, I'm not thankful for all of them." Are you praying for the ones you're not thankful for? Come on now. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood. Come on now. Man, are you just, because I'm telling you, if you're always going and you never have any time to smell the roses, if you will, you'll have a very hard time of being thankful. It takes time to have good friendships as well as it takes time to set aside to be thankful. So what is all of this pointing to concerning this sacrificial and self-giving nature of true friendships? Third and close here. There is no friend like Jesus. There is no friend like Jesus. JD told me that I should have every one of us stand up at this moment and hold hands across the entirety of the church and sing "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." But I told him that I don't think we're going to do that today. You can thank him later for the suggestion. He thought Mr. Stephen Micheri would find that very attractive, but we're not going to do that today. There is no friend like Jesus. The descriptions we're finding in Proverbs, I hope, do one thing to you. You're like, man, maybe right now some of you are saying, "I've got a friend," maybe two, maybe three. Man, I got a few people in my life that just, we're close. And man, the stuff you're talking about resonates with me. Like I recognize that type of friendship in my life. I have that. A lot of us are out here doing like, man, those don't, if we're skeptical, we're like, those don't exist. Not true. But on the other side, a lot of us just like, man, I want that. Like, I want someone to know me, to be known and still loved, cared for. Like, I want that in my life. And you know what's so hard? When you find a good friend, it's not usually long. I don't know about you. This has been my experience. It's not usually long, and then they're gone. And it's not gone necessarily because of bad things, but we live in such a mobile society that one job in this state, one job in this area, one move to this place, and then it's just hard. Hard with the distance, hard with the time. And it's not just that. Y'all following me? You're like, that's what we'll blame it on, mobility. No. Truth be told, speak for myself first, but I know that you guys are probably pretty similar to me. I'm not, in many cases, that type of friend. I'm not, in many cases, one who truly is sacrificial, self-giving, consistently, and repetitively. See, true friends are a wonderful blessing, but we are still flawed, sinful, and broken people. Like, that's still us. Good friends are still the best ones, still going to let you down in some form or some fashion. Not because maybe they even wanted to, but just they will. They will. They're still going to fail you at times. They're still going to not be there when you thought they were going to be there, or they said they were going to be there sometimes. Like, some things are just out of their control. But there is one who never fails. There's one who has never left you, There's one who's never forsaken you. And there is one, John 15, y'all follow me this morning, who calls you friend. Who calls you friend. Who says, as much as you're like, well, I chose Jesus, I chose you. Think about that for a moment. Jesus chose me and chose you. And he says, I call you friends. Greater love, John 15:13, has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friends. Hebrews 2:11, for he who sanctifies and those who are sanctified all have one source. That is why he is not ashamed to call them brothers, call them sisters. Think about this for a moment. The longing inside of us to know and to be known and to be loved and to have genuine, like real, deep friendship, it is right. It is good. Do not stop seeking it with our fellow human beings, right? Find good friends and keep them. Love them. Be there. Enjoy. Rejoice. Thank God for them. But at the heart of all of it, like we talked about a few weeks ago about a godly wife, at the heart of all of it, those yearnings point us to the one who truly is the great high priest, the ultimate King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It points us to Jesus. Points us to Jesus. And the more you spend time with Jesus and the more you know him, you will be an incredible friend to those that maybe right now some of you are saying, I would love to experience something like that. You will actually be in a place because you will be being fed by the King, by the one, and you will be a much better husband, wife, friend, whatever it is, because the more time you spend with him, the more you become like him. And the more that you become like him, the more you will radiate the joy of God. And that is worth living for and dying for.